is the problem. So what we're doing is going back to basics, folks, because I have seen so many people struggle for so many years, and it ain't necessary. And I use the word again, eat, on purpose to get through what we call the reticular activating system. Because if you're like me, you hear the words over and over and over again, and pretty soon, oh yeah, I know that stuff, but I don't apply it. And so we're going to talk this morning about going back to basics, that at the subconscious level of mind, we don't know what's there. I'll say it again. At the subconscious level of mind, we don't know what's there. And it's actually the subconscious level of mind that runs us. In other words, an example I always talk about, and I probably should stop talking about it, but you know, when I was, what, 80 or 90 pounds heavier, I couldn't eat one piece of chocolate cake. Got it? I had to eat the whole cake when I got there. Because the mind would say, you're starved, you need to eat. So we have all these patterns at the subconscious level, and we don't know where they come from because they were planted years ago. Scientists tell us at the age of 6, we've pretty much decided and we've taken into our subconscious mind what we think life is like. So we are playing out the life of a 6-year-old. Isn't that nice to know? Look around you. Everybody's 6 years old. And anybody seen a 6-year-old lately? They're rebellious. They get through the 2s and 3s, and all of a sudden they decide they know everything. And they get angry at things. Anybody familiar with getting angry?
Oh, yeah.
Anybody been through a political situation lately you didn't like? And see, we have all these opinions, but we don't even know where they come from. Why is somebody Democrat? Why is somebody Republican? Why is somebody this? Why is somebody that? It's because the ideas that were put in our brains at a young age are coming out and automatically expressing themselves, and we don't know it. And that's a scientific fact that's been kind of worked on over and over lately. Okay? Now, it's a very, very interesting conversation. It says, the abundance of the universe flows to me. I accept it with joy and gratitude. Does everybody understand that simple concept? The abundance of the universe flows to me. I'm going to say it again. You ready? The abundance of the universe flows to me. It doesn't say I have to work for it. It doesn't say I have to struggle for it. It doesn't say I have to get a college degree. It doesn't say any of that stuff. It says the abundance of the universe flows to me. And now the next part of it is I accept it with joy and gratitude. Now the problem here is there are things in our subconscious that we call counter-intentions. And those counter-intentions are the beliefs we have been given. And beliefs are, I have to work hard for anything I get. I have to do this, I have to do that, I have to, all these have-tos. Anybody familiar with have-tos? And our society around us has given us all these have-tos that we take in as a little child. So it's like changing those things is not easy because we don't know they're there. Luke, I think it's Luke. I don't have my notes. Yes, I do. You ready? Now I'm going to get into my notes here in trouble. And Luke says, and it says very clearly, actually it's 1 Corinthians 12. And it says, it's right here, now I see through a glass darkly. Now the thing to understand is glass is the word for a mirror back then. Remember, the King James was translated in 1500s. So they didn't have modern words. That's why we have so much convoluted theology in today's world. But the truth is a glass is a mirror, and now see I see through a glass mirror, and what does a mirror do? It shows us. So I can't see me because the mirror is clouded with the world's beliefs. Okay? In other words, I'm looking at something and I can't see who I am, and I can't see what's in me and what's driving me because it's all covered up. There's a famous story called Acres of Diamonds, and I'm trying to remember who the guy earned thousands of dollars just going around the world giving this talk on Acres of Diamonds. And the basic story of it is that a South African farmer lived on X number of acres, 100 acres, and they were rocky acres, and they were very difficult to farm. And he got tired of farming. And he studied and studied and studied and figured out he was going to find his money and he's going to sell this farm and get away from it. And he sold the farm, and he finally got away from it. He went to London because what he had done is London was a financial center. So he went to London and went broke, spent his money. The guy that bought his farm, everybody ready? Is the location of the famous diamond mine in South Africa.
Wow.
Okay? So what is the moral of that story? The kingdom of heaven is within. The kingdom of heaven is within. Now we believe that means literally the kingdom of heaven is within. Who you are and what you do is within you. It ain't out there. As science now knows and shows us that there's nothing out here, that we are the ones creating the world around us. And so we are creators creating world. You ever notice how life flows from day to day to day? And you wake up and here you start a day. Did you ever notice when you wake up and you don't feel too well, the day's rotten? Or you feel good, the day goes well? See, that's part of us creating our future, minute by minute by minute, by what we thought yesterday or the last minute. So it's a slow progression of life unfolding based upon our beliefs. So, let me go back. It says, if my prosperity feels stifled, I know that any limitations are of my own making. Not somebody outside of me. Not my mother, not my father, not the next door neighbor, not the wife or the husband that doesn't understand me. All that stuff, it doesn't matter. It's outside, it's not outside, it's within me. Because the kingdom of heaven within is what I have created. And it's a simple idea, as a man thinketh, so is he. Which is historically a New Thought idea, if you will. Back into, as above, so below. As within, so without. So these are all historical things that have come down through philosophies through centuries. And here we are today in quantum physics, proving that our thinking changes outcomes in life. So it's no longer a conversation of possibilities, it's a conversation of possibilities that how I, or you, and we apply the principles. And the principles are basically what I think and believe in the subconscious mind is what occurs in my life. Not the conscious mind. See, that's why the title I use, it's not what you think you thought that creates the problems, or the good things, it's what I don't know that I think. Because it's going on. I got a little, anybody familiar with a loop in the background of a computer program? Okay, and you don't know it's there, but it's a loop that keeps going in the back of the program and creates problems in what's displayed. If you're familiar, I've heard of things like hacking, and see, we have been hacked. We've been hacked. We have. Somebody put an idea 30, 40, 50 years, in my case, 77 years ago, somebody put an idea in my mind that I had to scroll. Now I can go back and tell you who did it. But it doesn't matter, because it's there. And I don't have to forgive anybody except myself for believing it. And since I am here now, I am the only one that can control that and change that. So it's up to me to go in and clean it up. So it's like each one of us has that. Do you ever see, I'm not big on jewelry, Manuel likes it, but anyway, but if you see a diamond, it sparkles brightly. And I like emeralds because they're pretty, I like other stones. But it's like every single one of us has a beautiful diamond within. And here's the problem. It's been covered with dirt. And another layer of dirt. And another layer of dirt. And another layer of dirt. Shall I keep going? Because every time we listen to TV, every time we have a neighbor complain, every time some event occurs, okay, it gets covered up with more dirt. And pretty soon we don't believe it's there because it's an impossibility that I'm an expression of God. But yet all of the major holy scriptures of the world talk about who we are deep down within. So what's true? What I believe is true or what's really true? So it's that diamond of who we are covered. Now I was going to use it, make it a little bit inelegant. I use the term dirt, but you can fill in whatever you want to. Because it's just layers of stuff. And so the idea here is, and I'm going to read this again. Thank you for reading this, by the way. And it goes on and says, in spiritual truth, prosperity is a natural expression of divine love, the infinite essence of all life. So it's already there. Everybody get it? It's already there. What I have written here And it's been coming to me all week, all this stuff. Madeline and I were involved in a program for a while. A lot of you know I used to do professional speaking. And one of the great speakers that I heard years ago, they really got me motivated to go into that style of life, said, and he used to have a film, and he was a crazy guy, very outlandish. He wore red suits. So we call the film the Red Suit Film. But in that film, he said, I have to compete with your neighbors and friends who control your mind. I'll say it again. I have to compete with your neighbors and friends who control your mind. And he was a motivational speaker, very, very good one. But the truth he was saying was, everybody around you is telling you you can't do it. Everybody around us is filling up your diamond with dirt, saying, well, you don't expect too much, don't get your hopes up. Or you'll always be fat, you'll always be thin. When you get older, you lose your sight. Whatever the beliefs they keep putting in your brain keeps covering up that diamond who we are. And so it says, our program as a child clouded that diamond. Okay, but the diamond's still there. That's the key. And that's what I hope for, that I can figure out a way to get it cleaned up. Now, right now, we're looking at raising, Randy gives the figure 600,000. We haven't gotten a figure from the designer yet. We're working on that. But the idea is raising $600,000. Would anybody agree that sounds, oh, goodness, it's a lot of money. Oh, my goodness. Has anybody ever seen money fly around? Every time you read the paper, it talks about billions today, not millions, billions. And there's more money floating around in the air out there. Anybody familiar with wire transfers? Guess where they go? Through the air. Now, why can't I just stick my head up and say, oh, mine? See, I don't know. What is possible? You see, the key to it is we don't know what's possible for each one of us. Jesus said, these things I do, you shall do even greater things. And he did. He walked on water, yes. He healed the sick. He created coins in a fish's mouth. Okay, so what do we believe about ourselves? And society has told us that we're no good. Sinners, anybody familiar with that term? Sinners. You deserve to be guilty. Oh my God. No wonder we get filled up with so much junk that we can't see the diamond. So I'm asking you to start looking for the diamond within you and who you really are. Now, it takes work. You know, in my case, gee, I hate to tell you this, but it's 77 years of dirt. So it takes time. It's cleaning and cleaning. Those of you that are younger got a head start on me, so go for it. But what's possible? And we talk about prosperity. See, the idea is in prosperity, the basic concepts, they are the vacuum law of prosperity, which means you have to get rid of the old stuff before new stuff shows up. So it's like one of the prosperity principles is to get rid of clutter to allow new stuff to come in. And it works. And then you affirm, I'm rich, well, and happy, and every phase of my life is in divine order now. Or whatever affirmation. And all these ideas, but there's one thing that I believe has to happen first, and that's realize who you are. Because number one, you're a child of God. Every Holy Scripture talks about child of God. And what does that mean? Well, in today's world, if you're a child, do you inherit everything from the father and mother? This is yes, this is no. So, who are we? Each one of us is a diamond with the kingdom of heaven within, which is what my teacher Jesus said. Okay? And he's not, the word sin is not, you know, I interact with people who say, well, I've been so sinful, the word sin is really error thinking. Those of you who don't know this, and we teach it in unity, that sin is the word for missing the mark. Back in the 14th, 15th century, when they were translating the Bible, there was no conversation or no words for missing the mark. Okay, or error. Everybody there? Error. And the word sin was what the archers used for missing the bullseye. So anybody agree we're not perfect all the time? And hitting the bullseye is a metaphor for what? Perfection. Okay? Okay, now, you don't hit the bullseye if you're 2 inches off. So the idea behind it is we have been sold a bill of goods that were not good enough. So everybody take a deep breath. And you just say within yourself, I'm a child of God. Come on, just do this. This connects both both sides of your inner self. And just say, I am a child of God together. I am a child of God. And I want you to feel the energy that happens. And I am open and receptive to God's good. I am open and receptive to God's good. It's an amazing story of who we are. So, now I'm going to refer. Old programming as a child clouded the diamond, okay? As you can tell, I have deviated completely from what I've said, what I planned on saying. But I heard the daily word, and I heard Valerie use some words. And the words she used were very, very salient for me. So I'd like to go back and share them with you. And in her meditation, she was saying, God is in the midst of you. Get that? That's powerful. And we have been trained to not believe that. Oh my God, not me. As a matter of fact, we are trained not to be too much in ego. But that's not ego. That's the humility of spirit. God working through each one of us. And God is in the midst of you as substance. That means everything you need for any reason whatsoever is already there. And the counterintentions that are in the subconscious mind says, no, that's impossible. I'm going to have to work hard. Or it's not that easy. You know, life's a struggle. Yes?
Or they'll tell us, you're not worth it.
You're not worth it.
Worthy,
you're not good enough.
You're not good enough.
Whatever you've taken in as a child. Okay, then it goes on and say, God in the midst of you is love. So all you are is love, and when anger comes up, that's not love. Donnie asked me a question earlier. I hope you don't mind that. But she asked me, unity teaches there is no evil. And she said, but there's evil in the world. I said, I summarize it. And the truth is, and I used the metaphor of the light bulb. Would you agree you turn that light out, it gets dark, especially at night? So it's not turning on the dark, it's turning off the light. Everybody there? And that's a metaphor for spirit. And evil shows up when spirit is turned off. So each of us has a choice of the way we think. We think either over here, which is what name will come in a minute. But anyway, the absolute truth is you're a child of God, everything's perfect, and you are complete and whole just as you are. That's the way you were created. How can a child of God be anything other than perfect? Because if you say, I am less than anything as a child of God, you're taking what? I believe the name of the God in vain. So stop and think about who we say we are. And then it says, okay, there's the other part of the world, which is relative truth, which is the truth that we have believed. And unfortunately, we don't know it's there. Okay, so, and then she also talked about acceptance of the divine. Okay, which means really understanding and accepting that we're a child of God. Okay? And that's a big step, and I know that I'm asking for that. I'm still working on that myself. Every day, Father, please help me remember who I really am. And it's that memory of who we are which brings back the child of God that we are. Okay? Now, I haven't even touched this over here, but I would like to share a Course in Miracles with you. Okay? Somebody's chuckling. Yes?
I was chuckling.
We could go into Course of Love. Course of Love, by the way, I believe is going to change this church and change the Christian religion. I believe that. There's only one other person in class with me. But it's talking about that we have used the mind to change things in the past. And everything, motivational speakers, everything has been renewing of the mind. But it's really not the mind that changes things, it's the heart. And the heart, Adriana, excuse me, you're with me on Wednesdays and Rick's with me. With us.
Yes.
But it's the heart. And it's the heart that drives things. And the heart is the seat of love. So it's learning to see things from love. And we've been so trained to see things from the mind. And we go into, is it fair or is it not? Is it right or is it wrong? And we know those things intrinsically at the heart level. And I do want to read this. I do have to put these on. We've been talking about once you reach a certain point, you should be able to read without glasses. Nope. Okay? I said, much has been seen. I say, your starting point is truth, and you must return to your beginning. See, this is a direct conversation that we must go back and clean up who we are and what the world has told you, and go back to that true self, the absolute truth of who you are. Then it goes on and says, much has been seen since, but nothing has really happened. Anybody agree we're still dealing with the same basic stuff we've always dealt with? It's amazing to me. In 1978 is when I first heard Catherine Ponder in a class at Unity in Birmingham, Alabama. And I figured, okay, I'm going to get wealthy. And I talk about it. I expected $1,000 bills to come floating out of the air, okay? It didn't happen. And here we are, what, 30-some years, 40-some years, still struggling with the same stuff. Mainly because it hasn't been internalized. So let's go on. So it says, you have not gone back far enough, and that is why you become so fearful. What I'm realizing is fear is what stops us. Course in Miracles says that there's only two states of being. One is fear, the other is love. And if I'm dealing in fear, which is 99% of us, that's where we are, then I create what I'm afraid of. Job has said, that which I feared has now come upon me. Basic truth. Okay? So, it goes on. You have not gone back far enough. As you approach the beginning, you feel the fear of destruction of your thought system as if you were fear of death. There is no death, but there's belief in death. There's belief in anything you choose. So you see, life is who we are. You know, the world is in struggle out there. Anybody agree these ideas can help that? And so, if I choose to figure out ways to clean the subconscious mind up, sooner or later it gets clean. And I go back to the beginning, you go back to the beginning, and start manifesting as a child of God. And so a lot of the techniques, if you will, a lot of the ideas, they're good, they work, but they're unnecessary when you become a child of God. So I'm going to leave it there. And that's what you're sharing with in Awake Awareness. Same idea. Okay? I could go on talking for 3 hours. I really could. But everybody got the idea that the kingdom of heaven is within. And see, I believe those things literally. So many people believe it's a metaphor. And I've heard people say, well, it should be translated, the kingdom of heaven is in the midst of you. Okay? Anybody agree? The midst of me is where? Okay, so these translations, everything is centering into who you really are. And that $600,000 we talked about, do you understand? If we as a group believe it's true, it'll be there. In the bank tomorrow. And Randy has figured out a program, those of you who don't know about it, that we are all buying a lotto ticket each week. And we figured that sooner or later, well, somebody has to hit a big one. And we have agreed to share 50% of it with the church. So when I earn my million, the church will get 500,000. Millions. And Randy and several other folks are being very, very vigilant in that. So I'm finished. All I wanted to do was challenge. And we left in your bulletins is the Ho'oponopono idea. And that Ho'oponopono idea is basically cleaning up. I'm sorry, I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you. And that's talking to the divine. I also have printed up a tapping sequence if somebody wants it. I'll give it to you after the service. And on top of that, I'm going to ask Madeline, she doesn't know it, but I'd like to do another tapping seminar coming within the next month. Because tapping is proven to release upsets from the past. Okay? So thank you, I love you. Let's build a church together in consciousness. Thank you.